Okay, so you can't really tell, but that was 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 8, not 10, but 10. How many of you know someone who has had a baby as a teenager? The answer is probably going to be most of you, and if you don't, 3 in 10 teens will get pregnant at least once by the age of 20. That is almost 750,000 teen pregnancies every year. Teen pregnancies have declined over the years, but the numbers are still large and it is very relevant in today's society. Not only are there many pregnancies among teen women, there are many sexually transmitted diseases in both women and men. The CDC estimates people ages 14-15 make up 1/4 of the sexually active population, but make up half of the 20 million new STD cases every year. Both pregnancies and contracting an STD can dramatically affect a teenager's life. Not only does it affect the teen themselves, and it can affect their family and people around them. Women go through many mental and physical changes during and after pregnancy and face many new challenges, including postpartum depression, which are both higher in teens, restless nights, attempting to finish school, making doctor's appointments, limited financial resources, and many more. According to N. Hall, in an article from thehealthline.com, teen moms are 2 times more likely to experience postpartum depression than their adult counterparts. Not only is the mother of the child affected, the father and the child themselves is affected. The father also has more financial responsibility, emotional stress, families not being accepting, and other things too. Both the mother and father may have to end their education earlier than intended to take care of the baby. The baby may be born into a family of financial hardships, into emotional stress, lower education, or an unideal environment. According to the CDC, children of teenage mothers are at great risk for low birth rate and infant mortality, more likely to drop out of high school, and lower employment. If the parents are unable to fully take care of their child, their parents may then have to take on an unexpected role of another parent to the child. The child's grandparents may have to watch them while their parents are at school or if they have a job. They also may have to help the child financially along with medical expenses. All of these things can lead to extra stress in the household, conflict within the family, and can ruin relationships. Found on healthychildren.org, a medical website, sexually transmitted diseases include chlamydia, crabs, genital herpes or warts, HIV, AIDS, gonorrhea, and many more. STD, or sexually transmitted diseases, can cause long-term health complications and can cause infections to infants born with infected mothers. Treating STDs can be very costly, as well as some aren't even treatable. And infant mortality is more likely to drop if the person has a sexually transmitted disease. Now that you know more about how teen pregnancies and sexually transmitted diseases can affect both parents of the child as well as the parents' guardians or other people in the family, you will better understand the importance of birth control, such as condoms and Plans B, to be provided in middle schools throughout college without parental consent. Many people would think that a teenager in middle school or high school must inform their parents or get their parents' consent when getting any kind of birth control. A common misconception is that providing contraceptions to teenagers in schools will encourage them to have sex. However, this can be very problematic, and research proves that. Many believe that not providing birth control or sexual education to minors in school would decrease sexual activity in teens. However, this is not the case. Teenagers are going to continue to have sexual intercourse, simply making that a more dangerous option. According to ACLU.org, or the American Civil Libertarians Union, medical experts caution that when teenagers cannot obtain contraceptions without involving a parent, they are less likely to protect themselves from unintended pregnancies and STDs. These medical experts also oppose laws that require teens to involve their parents due to this. The only thing this does is keeps them from getting protection and the treatment tools that they need to be safe and prevent getting pregnancies and STDs. Students, however, show some research of impact doing so. According to the sketchy from acap.org, an organization that promotes the healthy development of children, states, currently 35% of all U.S. school districts have policies that restrict sexual education to the teaching of abstinence. Among schools in the South, 55% have such policies. Their rates of teen pregnancy are significantly higher than the national average. Another quote from them, despite having the low teenage birth rate in the U.S., the rate is twice as high as that in Canada, and 4 times the rate in France and Sweden. The teens in countries with lower teen birth rates have ready access to sexual education and contraceptive services and are more likely to use highly effective contraceptive methods, and that is usually the pill. As you can see, when efforts are made, the numbers decrease and many schools don't have sexual education classes. And imagine if that combined with birth control, could the number reduce to so less? With more research on this topic, as well as it being talked about, has increased people's favor in this. ACAP.org says, a recent nationwide poll of parents showed that 67% of them approved of schools providing birth control to teenagers, but 37% of this group thought there should be parental consent. Nationwide, less than 5% of schools and only 1% of middle schools make condoms available to students. It is so important that more people hop on the board and realize the importance of not having parental consent and providing birth control at schools. Many teens do not have an open relationship with their parents and feel comfortable about talking about sex, which can be an awkward topic for many kids and their parents. And not being able to have that relationship, they're not going to talk to their parents regardless, and they're going to still continue to have sex. And not having that communication, they're going to not be educated about it, and they're going to make mistakes. So having that provided in schools will highly benefit them. Many parents have different views on sex and what they want for their child. Unfortunately, kids will be kids, and as I said, they're going to do what they want, and when they want it, how they want it, they're going to find a way to do it. As a parent, it's really important to realize that and do what you can to keep them safe and healthy and educated and protected, which is the most important thing. It is clear that accidental or unwanted teen pregnancies can be life-altering for both parents as well as the family, both from a health standpoint, physically and mentally. Financially, it's going to be a lot harder for a teenager to raise a child than it would be for an older person who has a job. It's also going to affect their school and education. Most likely, they're going to have to drop out of school to take care of the child or to get a job to provide for that child. Teens are going to have sex no matter what, so we need to do everything we can to make sure that they have the resources available to keep them the safest that they can be. Although there are not many schools that have adapted this method, the schools that have seen lower numbers, so it's very important for everyone in society to help educate teens on sex and push for schools to allow birth control without parent consent. Thank you.